biblical text and quantum physics. We'll listen to this 3-minute part right here.
Are you saying that Abraham did or did not sacrifice Isaac? Are you saying that Jesus really did die for our sins? I mean, do you believe that? Do you believe that as a fact?
The thing you said about the pro-Palestine people taking over the hands-off protest wasn't true, by the way. There were 2 separate protests planned for the same day. I never said it took it over. I just said it sounded like they were trying to ride off the back of that hype, and it seemed really, really, really cringe to me.
Our sins. I mean, you're saying that Abraham did or did not sacrifice Isaac? Are you saying that Jesus really did die for our sins? I mean, do you believe that? Do you believe that as a fact, that Jesus died for our sins?
We have a big election coming up, and there's a lot at stake. But here's
Tell us about it.
Think about this. In the past 4 years, the buying power of the US dollar has declined, while the price of gold has increased 40%. Coincidence? I think not. Here's what you need to do. Text Jordan to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold, then...
What do you want? Just Moldy. I dragged you on. I saw you in DGG chat.
Oh, hey, thanks. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, awesome. I had a quick question to ask you. How strongly do you distinguish between gender and sex as you go forward in these conversations you're having?
It's gonna super depend on who I talk to. Why?
Because I was noticing some kinds of things you were saying and they were saying, and I just was super curious. For example, I think that a lot of the things that once you bring up things like science, things you can check in the real world, my brain immediately goes to sex. Whereas if we're talking about things that are more socially constructed, it goes to gender. And I'm just curious, like, is this more or less how you view things, or do you feel like they are inextricable in like a super meaningful way?
I mean, I think broadly speaking, I would just probably say I agree. Sure.
Oh, okay. Okay. Do you think it could be helpful if that's like something that you start a conversation with? That because there are things that I saw the person was agreeing to, and I was super curious. Like, if you had the conversation, like, hey, when I talk about sex and like what can be determined through biology, I purely mean sex. Whereas if I'm talking about bathrooms or the things that we attach to those kinds of things to get society going, we mean gender. I was just like that kind of thing. Do you think that would be useful for you?
Maybe. Yeah, I feel why I feel like this distinction was made at one point in time, and now like nobody does it anymore, right? Where people will say like, oh, when we talk about sex, we're talking about biological sex. When we talk about gender, I feel like the progressives wanted to make gender a stronger category, so they weren't happy with that anymore, so they stopped using that argument. So now we kind of have to work in another realm. Am I making this up?
I wouldn't know. But I was just curious. Like, I just on the point where you seem to agree that biology has a strong influence on your capability in doing sports and whatever.
Yeah.
And they understand. Oh, I can put it differently. If we instead of say like women's sports, we said female sports. Do you feel like progressives and or even conservatives or like
nobody is happy with that female woman distinction. I don't know if anybody even believes that anymore. Conservatives might say that, but and the average conservative views gender and sex as the exact same thing, and I feel like progressives aren't willing to say like a trans woman is not a biological woman. I feel like progressives won't say that anime. Okay. So unfortunately I don't think that distinction has much social utility because nobody wants to sit on either side of it, unfortunately.
Okay, that's fair. Because how I came to discover your content was through someone who was tutoring, who brought up a conversation you had with another philosopher. I only bring this because you've had a chat with a philosopher. And they had a book or a paper that spelled out several arguments. And I felt that what the main thrust of the conversation was that he felt uncompelled by the distinction between gender and sex. And I was just super curious if you
the
felt
Thomas
the same way.
Bro Guardian guy or whatever.
Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah. I'm not really that interested. When it comes to people like him, assuming that he was representing everything in good faith, and he's not like some secret crazy transphobe, like if somebody wants to say that they're not convinced about some distinction there, and in their mind they recognize that like trans women are still biologically and gender whatever as male, but they call them woman and they don't care how they ID, like whatever. I'm probably fine if somebody has those beliefs. That's a very, very, very nuanced like philosophical belief though. Yeah,
that is true. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Okay. Have fun.
Cheers.
Got him. Okay, sorry, hold on. What was this?
Diversify. As the exclusive gold partner of the Daily Wire for the past 8 years, you can trust Birch Gold. Don't let economic uncertainty threaten your financial future. Take action now with Birch Gold. Text Jordan to the number 989898 for your free.
How long is this ad? Jesus.
There are elements of the texts that I don't.
Okay, here's my issue with Jordan Peterson. I don't know if it sounds like it's about to happen here because he didn't answer this plainly, okay? My issue with Jordan Peterson is it feels like sometimes, and I don't know if it's just apparently everybody just fucking, it's a drug thing. How old are these people when the drugs overtake them? Elon Musk, Jordan Peterson. Am I gonna be an actual meth lord when I hit these guys' age? I don't have any problem with Jordan Peterson talking about like, are dragons real? And he has some kind of like metaphorical or allegorical understanding of what a dragon is, or like I think it's fine to have those conversations. But I think it's very, very, very childish and incredibly goofy and silly to not immediately acknowledge outwardly that that's the conversation that you're having. And it feels like for some reason Jordan Peterson has either lost the mental faculty to do that, or is just like enjoys being goofy and silly. We're like, do you think dragons are real? I'm like, well, it depends on like an ordinary or like normal, healthy mind human being would immediately say something like, well, I see a dragon outside. Well, no, of course not, except maybe your mom, right? But if you believe in some metaphorical or allegorical concept of dragon, and maybe you even would argue people in the past that spoke of dragons might have even been referring to a similar thing, then you would make those arguments understanding that you're speaking about something that's pretty, that you're doing that, as opposed to this like weird world where people can't tell. Do you actually think dragons are real? Do you actually think Jews came out of Egypt? Like, I can't tell now.
There are elements of the texts that I don't claim to understand. What my experience has been that the more deeply I look into these texts, the more I learn. That doesn't mean that I can proclaim full knowledge of what the texts proclaim. But I don't think, and I'm not trying to play a trick here. You know, I watched an interview that you did recently where you were talking, I think it was with Piers Morgan, yeah, about the complexities of trying to understand this strange realm of quantum phenomena, right? And we have a trouble with quantum phenomena because at the micro...
I thought Jews did come out of Egypt? No, that never happened. That's just a story in the Bible. There's no evidence ever that Egypt enslaved some mass amount of Jews.
...level, things don't act like things act at the macro level. So they...
I don't like how Destiny uses the word progressive. There are plenty of center-left progressives that have sensible positions, i.e. Pac-Man, Cohen, etc. Yeah, I mean, like, I even kind of determine myself as a progressive. But it's hard because, like... It's hard. It's hard because I think most progressive places online would like squarely say I'm not progressive. And a lot of them would say that they are avowedly like socialist or even tanky. So it's just hard to, I just have to be careful when I make those distinctions.
Level, things don't act like things act at the macro level. So they escape our intuitions. And one of the things you said was that although it's perhaps even impossible for creatures embodied like us to get a grip on quantum phenomena, the strange wave-particle duality, for example, we have ample evidence that it works and stellarly. And I would say exactly the same thing about the biblical texts.
Oh.
If they run into a mystery, like there's a horizon of mystery, which I do not claim to penetrate, but insofar as I've been able to understand the texts, every time I make a improvement in understanding, it reveals something to me that's just like shattering.
Quantum physics is deeply mysterious, and you're saying that biblical texts are deeply mysterious. The difference is quantum physics, the predictions you derive from quantum physics are fulfilled to the umpteenth decimal place. The umpteenth decimal place, I mean, I think it was Richard Feynman says, equivalent to predicting the width of North America to the nearest hair's breadth. Now, that's impressive. That's
no doubt.
The mystery there, as it were, gains its credentials by its predictions. The mysteries of the Bible don't have any credentials at all, as far as I can make out.
Well,
Okay, I'm glad you made that distinction. Listen, I try not to talk about QM too much because I don't know fuck all about it, or at least I qualify myself when I do it. Any philosophy people love going to quantum mechanics because there's enough stuff there that if you don't have a grasp of the underlying math or even the physics concepts, you can like make the craziest arguments. Like entanglement means you can send information faster than the speed of light. That's not true. Or like an observation of a particle changes its behavior, that means that a conscious observer changes the state of the universe. Like that's not necessarily what observer means, or what it means to change what it even does. But I feel like if anybody's going to invoke quantum mechanics or whatever, I feel like there needs to be some like, we're going to do a 5-question quiz, and if we can't all agree on like what these things mean, then we're not going to bring this up right now because it's going to be fucking retarded. But I only bring that up to say that for a lot of QM related stuff, my understanding is it's not like we observed a bunch of weird stuff that was hard to explain, and then all of a sudden we did more scientific exploration, and then we found ways to, like, oh, now we've invented this or now we've invented that. But rather, I believe for a lot of physics, there was stuff that began to be theorized based off of mathematical models or other observations, and then the theories would be used to construct a model, and then only like sometime afterwards were the underlying things found. So the framework was, I don't want to say entirely conceptual, like there was no relation to the real world, but it's not like we saw a Higgs boson and then tried to explain it. We theorized the existence of the particle, and then I think decades later, right, we found these standard model physics particles or other things related to that, yeah. But Dawkins kind of brought that out. There's a difference. It's not like all of QM is, or all of physics even, is like retrospective. Like we find a thing and we try to explain it. We make predictions with it, and then the thing ends up being true. That's an important distinction between that and the Bible. I don't know why I'm explaining this. Everybody understands.
well, I guess the credentials that I would put, you made a.
What does entanglement mean? I don't even remember what the fuck spin means on particles. I think entanglement, when people say two particles are entangled, what they, in layman's terms, what they say is that if you change one, you change the other. But that's not, and so that's how you can send information faster than light. I believe that what entanglement means is if there's a pair of, I don't even know what the name of the particle is, or even if it was a particle over some other thing, but there are two things that have like opposite spin, and if you separate them, they'll maintain that because they're quote unquote entangled. So if you observe the spin of one thing, you can tell what the spin of the other thing is, but you can't send information. You can't change one part of it and then change the other part. I think they're said to be entangled because they represent a different, I don't even want to say, it's not even polarity. I think it's just opposite spins or whatever. And they have those as long as you don't interfere with them and then you observe one of them. But you can't send information using entanglement. I believe that's the case.
Statement a couple of months ago that I found.
They both represent the same wave function. Okay, there you go.
You made a statement a couple of months ago that I found very interesting. And I don't claim to understand it, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot with it. You said that you were a cultural Christian. Okay, and so that raised a number of questions in my mind. And the first question was,
You are changing the subject.
No, I'm not. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I may be leaping outside of.
I don't know what we changed. Okay, never mind. This is cringe. I don't care anymore. Is the Hunter Ash convo happening? Who's Hunter Ash? At Destiny, you should look up Fabiano Fagin. Is that a real name? Yes, but the implication is that they affect one another regardless of distance. That is absolutely not true. I promise that's not true. There is nothing that you can be more certain of than information cannot propagate through any part of the universe faster than the speed of causality or the speed of a massless photon, of speed of light. If ever that were the case, then it would be the most groundbreaking challenge to our current model of the universe. So there's never going to be like a random article you're like, oh, we can transfer, or sometimes information goes faster than light. That's just never the case. Rip to a real one. If you affect one, the other will react at the same time. I thought it was the thing. Yeah, that's how sometimes people explain it, but that's just not true. That's not true.
The two of you ever collaborate on a creative process?
Like, oh my God, this is so inappropriate that I'm doing this, okay? If you're a physicist, I'm so sorry. Imagine you've got like a box, okay? And inside this box, imagine that there are two marbles, okay? There's one marble here, and there's well, we don't know where. Fuck it. The other marble can be anywhere else or whatever, right? Let's say that we shoot this marble, okay, at the other marble, and we cause it to go in a certain direction. So let's say we shoot this marble this way, and then after we shoot it this way. Let's say that the top marble goes here, and the bottom marble goes here, okay? Let's say that we find a way to cut this box in half and then move these two things to other parts of the universe, okay? But we've never observed what's happened inside. The entanglement of these two particles, all it means is that if we want to know where the other particle is, all we have to do is observe one of them, and by observing one of them, we can say with certainty where the other particle is. That's quantum entanglement. There's no way to transfer the information faster than the speed of light or to make one change on one and change the other. It just means that because of the state that the two particles were in, or the state that the particle was in or whatever, and what happened to it before, when we make an observation later on, we can tell what the state of that other particle will be. That's all entanglement is, okay? I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 79% sure of that. Okay. But I'm 100% sure that if you change one aspect of it, it doesn't change the other aspect of it. Okay. Do you have angles snapping at your mouth? I don't know. What was that? Why is it doing that? Is it because Factorio is open? Pretty sure you changed the state. You might, yeah, but the change is not, well, I don't even know if quantum physicists agree with if there's like a real underlying state before something's been observed. Like when they speak about a wave function, like is there a real underlying, I don't even know I don't know if there's like a consensus there. I don't know if it matters. I don't know if, yeah, I'm not sure. Remember, like the speed of causality is so important, and the fact that nothing can travel faster than that. This is like why, for instance, this is why time dilation exists. That if you're on a train and you're heading towards another train and both of you are going 50 miles per hour and you guys are both heading towards each other, you'll see each other going 100 miles an hour at each other. But if one of you is going at the speed of light and the other of you is going at 50 miles an hour, you'll only see the other guy going at the speed of light. You can never exceed how fast you're going. And the way that we reconcile this is by slowing down the frame of the time being experienced by one party in order to reconcile the differences and because how is it not going faster than light? Like you can never, ever, nothing travels faster than this. And all of our understanding of everything in physics is based around the fact that the universe has a speed limit in terms of how fast information can propagate across it. Okay, why is my mouse doing that? Now this guy's gonna be paranoid. Is my mouse doing some weird shit? Like is angle snapping a thing? Faster. You're using relativistic science and applying it to quantum phenomena. Nothing that I just said here had anything to do with quantum phenomena. Here. Oh, unless you're talking about entanglement or whatever, but even that doesn't matter. That's not happening. Nothing goes faster than light, okay? Suck a dick. Except for the Flash.
It's too late.
You would know information faster than light, and it has implications, not transmit, but know stuff about an item. It doesn't matter. There's no special implication there that couldn't be achieved using very rudimentary understandings of reality. For instance, if I gave you a box and I said that one shoe was in it, and you traveled to the other end of the universe, and you opened the box and you looked inside and there was a left shoe, you would instantaneously know that I have the right shoe. But you don't need quantum mechanics for that type of information transfer or propagation or whatever, right? The angles are because you're zoomed out, zoom in, and they go away. Why would you lie to me like that? No, my mouse is clearly creating angles. Is it a myth that the universe is expanding faster than light? I don't know how a universe expansion is explained. If that's the expansion, is the universe expansion the creation of new space-time, or is it the expansion of space-time? I don't know the answer to that. The universe's expansion causes faraway galaxies to move away from us faster than the speed of light. Yeah, but you never experience it or see it as such. I wasn't saying you're wrong, by the way, just that relativity doesn't always apply to quantum stuff. Oh, sure. I don't think those two theories are married much. I don't know how much like QFT incorporates any relativistic stuff. I honestly have no fucking idea. I don't even know if there's like any kind of special relativity that's been incorporated into QFT. There might be. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Do you see the Trump admin is just editing the trade deficit? Based. Okay, angle snapping. Mouse settings. Pull rate of the mouse is limited to 60 hertz. It's the paint zoom, bro. Use the bottom right tool to zoom in and draw. What are you talking about? No, you're lying. Look, even when I zoom out. Or even when I zoom in. Look, it's still there. It will be in your mouse software? I don't even know if I have mouse software. Fuck, what is this, Logitech? I don't have this shit on my computer. I wonder if it's on my streaming computer. Oh, it is. What the fuck? Hold on. Oh, so I need it on this computer. Logitech. I don't have it on this computer either. Okay, whatever. Don't care.
Here's a question. Would the two of you ever collaborate on a creative process? David, no.
Based. Does anybody use Fuller robots in Factorio? I just feel like they're so cringe. Yeah, I know. You have to get the whole G-Hub shit. Fuck that. Here's a time-stamped video.
The answer lies in the fact that we can produce pairs of particles that always spin in opposite directions. If the two detectors are aligned in the same direction, then when the spin of one particle is measured to be towards the red plate, the spin of its partner is always measured to be towards the blue plate. This is true 100% of the time.
Why do I don't care. QM is cringe. And no one cares. You should use your Google Calendar again? Well, I actually discovered that I can never be late for stream if I just don't schedule them, so. Dude, Richard is about to become the most fucking unhinged Trump derangement syndrome guy. If he's actually abandoned the conservatives. MAGA. What if we tried central planning again, but this time with a movement that is 20 IQ points lower than normal socialists? Angle snapping can be turned off in the Windows mouse settings. I didn't see it anywhere in there. Does he regret his vote? Yes, he officially came out and said that his vote, it was a bad vote. So, based. The no communication theorem supports what you say. It asserts that during the measurement of an entangled quantum state, it is impossible for one observer to transmit information to another observer, regardless of their spatial separation. Duh. Do you think he should be mocked? Fuck. I might not be the guy for this. I was listening to, God, Mad Max was such a shit movie, dude. Also, Men in Black 1. Have I ever put that on my greatest, it's like School of Rock. These are just perfect movies that every single person should be able to enjoy. School of Rock, Pirates of the Caribbean, Men in Black 1. I feel like there was a third one before Men in Black. I feel like there was another one where I was like, everybody should love this movie. Scott Pilgrim was a really good one. Super bad? That's way too particular. Do anything about the medic killing in Israel? Nope. Don't know, don't care. Which Pirates movie? The first one, duh. Did I say The Princess Bride before? That's a solid good movie. And it's cute. Fuck, I wanted some YouTube clip exploration. What is this? What is this movie? I've always heard of it, but I've never actually watched it before. It was like a retarded version of Armageddon, except instead of going to an asteroid to nuke it, they go to the core of the Earth to nuke it to make it work again. We just watched Margin Call and it was trash as fuck. I have very mixed feelings about Margin Call. I feel like this is going to sound really weird, but I feel like Margin Call is just best experienced through like 3 or 4 YouTube clips. The performances in that movie are phenomenal, and the directing and the, I'll say like cinematography, but just it looks really good. The performances are what sell it. There's such great performances. I think it's got a pretty good script. But I think that like outside of the high intensity scenes, which are basically just like all the meeting scenes, I think it just kind of is like very boring. Like it's a bunch of like really well acted skits that are stitched together by a very weak plot, I think. Yeah. Margin Call needed a script like The Big Short. Margin Call is a completely different type of movie than The Big Short. ADHD brain talking. I don't understand why when I identify aspects of a movie that are random and incoherent or scrambled, that's an ADHD thing. I feel like it would be the exact opposite, that would appeal more to an ADHD person to have a bunch of random disconnected shit. But, okay. Margin Call was a bad writing movie with good acting. I liked basically every scene inside of the boardrooms, I think were, like, the tension and the performances and the writing, I think, were really good. Kevin Spacey just does a phenomenal job. He's just a really good actor. And the two other upper manager guys do a really good job as well. Fuck me, fuck you. Fuck, what is that actor's name? This guy. Not that guy.
Please.
This guy does a really good job too, though.
Sit down.
The strip club part looked like a YouTube video. Yeah, that part's not part of that's not relevant. Okay. Fuck, who's this actor on the left? Demi Moore and Simon Baker. That guy.
As you put it.
Is it just me or did Margin Call feel like it randomly ended? I just don't think it was a very good movie. It had a collection of some very, very, very good scenes, I think. Okay, sorry. What is this? Everybody's recommended me to watch The Pit, and I've never watched it. I don't know what this movie's about.
Can you put your damn phone away? Your son is critically ill. The longer that we wait, the higher the risk of permanent brain damage. What is not clear here?
How did Flynn get measles?
From his sister. Hi. I'm Dr. Robbie. Georgia is fine. She's in our staff room. She's the one who actually called 911 and probably saved her brother's life.
Georgia was sick, but she got better on her own quickly.
Yeah, many people get better on their own, like Georgia. However, as many as 1 in 20 kids that get measles get pneumonia, like your son.
Are your children vaccinated against measles?
No.
Wow. The woke mob. Now they're using TV shows to sell big pharma.
The MMR vaccine is perfectly safe. Measles is not.
We're concerned about inflammation and possible.
Safe. Measles is not.
We're concerned about inflammation and possible damage to Flynn's brain and spinal cord.
It's a show. Each episode is 1 hour in real time. Season 1 takes place over a 12-hour shift and an ER. Oh.
The measles got to his brain?
Well, his head CT was normal, but the only way to find out if he's okay is to perform a lumbar.
I have a few friends, one who was a nurse in I think it was an ER. She went between ER and intensive care, I think. And then one who does, she was an internal medicine doctor, I think, who also did, it's not intensive care. Fuck, what's it called after an ER? Maybe it was intensive care. But I feel like they have a lot of crazy stories. It is like an insane work environment. Holy shit.
Heart puncture.
A spinal?
Oh, ICU might be one I'm thinking of. It's intensive care unit, right?
I've read about kids who've been paralyzed from a spinal tap.
There is zero risk of paralysis.
What about bleeding or infection?
It's a perfectly safe procedure. We do it every day.
We need spinal fluid to see if Flynn has acute disseminated encephalomyelitis.
And if he does?
We treat with high-dose steroids to decrease the risk of blindness, deafness, intellectual disability, even death.
He could die from this?
The death rate from ATEM is high, 1 in 5.
Do the spinal tap.
No! Can't you just give him steroids without the spinal tap?
If there's no ATEM, the steroids could suppress his immune system, making it harder to fight off the pneumonia.
Anyone who gets admitted from the ER is usually really fucked. I worked as a scribe for 4 years and so much insane shit. Yeah, and it seems like when you're in the emergency room too, you get a lot of just like, this sounds really mean, I'm just being brutal, like there's a lot of like insane people, because the types of people that are generally getting those injuries and going to those places, depending on where you work, are just, it's an insane clientele.
If there's no ATEM, the steroids could suppress his immune system, making it harder to fight off the pneumonia.
But it says here
Can you put your damn phone away? Your son is critically ill. The longer that we wait, the higher the risk of permanent brain damage. What is not clear here?
Hillary, he has a tube down his throat.
They're
He can't
not
breathe on his own.
poking holes in my son's spine.
Wow.
Just let him die.
Let's just wait and see if he gets better.
Dr. King, could you please take Flynn's parents to see their daughter?
No problem.
They are going to see their daughter.
Fucking Dr. Google bullshit. They want medical treatment, but they don't want medical advice. What the actual fuck are we doing?
Yeah, I know, and we'll keep trying. You okay?
Yes.
Okay, we were on a journey for... Fuck, did I not? Was it, maybe it was on my other computer. Whatever, fuck. It was one of these bulwark dudes. The gay guy and another dude. Oh, it was this video.
Hey guys, it's Tim Miller from the Bulwark here.
Tim Miller. This guy seems to be, or they were representing one of my thoughts, or another woman, I think they're talking about her representation, that basically there's a world where we come back from all of this because people realize how fucked and bad it is, and we have to figure out like a way back. Yeah. I don't know why I'm bringing this up, to give you a summary of a video that we're not going to watch. There you go. Can you finish reading Joanna's article? I get it sounds like a lot of lefty slop, but she brings up evidence later in her article. You can copy paste, or you can pick an image screenshot of like the strongest paragraph, but... Husband is a paramedic for EMS at ER, and he's came across the most insane people and circumstances. Also, he loves this show and said it's the most medically accurate show he's watched. Wow. It's kind of funny. People wouldn't expect it, but in terms of like the most accurate show that people say represents the medical field the most, of all the ones that shows up, because some people will think like, oh, Grey's Anatomy, blah, blah. It's actually House MD, because House is the most accurate show ever. Okay? TV drama slops are putting in Scrubs. Not Scrubs. It's House MD. That's real life. But actually people say Scrubs, but no one cares. You pulled that video up when someone asked if we should mock or bully Richard Hanania. Oh yeah, maybe, yeah. It's just this idea of like creating a way back for conservative people, I guess. Which we probably should, but I don't know if I have the right mental state to do it right now.
Why did the president not include Russia on the list of countries who are facing?
Oh fuck! This was. Can somebody real quick in chat? Somebody linked this in chat earlier, and I watched it off stream. It was a tweet of a small video of somebody asking somebody from the White House. I think was it the Secretary of Agriculture? Why did we tariff the Penguin Island? And all she could do was like laugh about it, and she wouldn't answer the question.
Tariffs?
There's obviously an ongoing negotiation with Russia and Ukraine, and I think the president made the decision not to conflate the two issues. It doesn't mean that Russia, the fullest of time, is going to be treated wildly different than...
What?
Tariffs?
There's...
Why did the president not include Russia on the list of countries who are facing tariffs?
There's obviously an ongoing negotiation with Russia and Ukraine, and I think the president made the decision not to conflate the two issues. It doesn't mean that Russia, the fullest of time, is going to be treated wildly different than every other country.
But Russia is one of the only countries, one of the few countries that is not subject to these new tariffs, aren't they?
They're in the middle of a negotiation, George, aren't they?
Well, I'm asking a different question. Why? And I just want to know why.
Would you literally advise that you go in and put a whole bunch of new things on the table in the middle of a negotiation that affects so many American and Ukrainian and Russian lives?
Negotiators do that.
It's just so blatant, bro. I was having like an existential crisis last night. Holy shit! It's just we live in a very, very, very weird world right now. That's getting, or at least the United States lives in a very weird world right now, where we're getting further and further away from reality. In a way, I kind of want to talk to my mom a little bit, but I actually have like an anxiety over it. I wonder how many people watch my stream and they're like, God, Destiny's such a good debater, I wish that he could just debate my parents, because I just can't do it, because I feel like I always get crushed when I go to debate my parents. I wish Desi could do it. I don't think you realize that, like, I can't win debates against my mom. And it's not like she has, like, the best facts and figures and, like, logically destroys me. It's that if I were to go and talk to my... It's just, like, it's an avalanche of so much shit that is impossible to keep up with. It is impossible. It's impossible. You can't do it. Yeah, it's so frustrating.
Negotiators do that all the time.
No. That's not appropriate to throw a new thing into these negotiations right in the middle of it. It's just not.
So you are conceding that Russia is not paying any new tariffs, unlike many of our allies, including Europe, Canada, Mexico.
Russia is in the midst of negotiations over peace that affects really thousands and thousands of lives of people, and that's what President Trump's focused on right now.
Unbelievable. Apparently, Ukraine got tariffed, though, so really makes you think.
Example, President Trump laid out with a giant graphic of all the countries where tariffs were going to be, what he called reciprocal tariffs were going to be imposed. And you're imposing a 10% tariff on the herd in McDonald Islands. The herd in McDonald Islands have 0 human inhabitants. They have 0 exports. They have 0 imports. They do have a lot of penguins. Why are you putting import tariffs on islands that are entirely populated by penguins?
Well, I mean, come on, Jake. Obviously, here's...
Any thoughts on Project 2025, or is that shit still just a meme? It was never a meme. I'm pretty sure they're going through with, or have already, there's like a Project 2025 tracker, I think, website that goes through a lot of things. I think they've checked off a bunch of things on it so far, but now I'm not even sure, because I never read into it completely. I don't know if Project 2025 and doing all that would be preferable to the insane shit that we're in now. Like, did Project 2025 have a tariff the entire fucking world with unhinged rates section?
Come on, Jake. Obviously, here's the bottom line. We live under a...
Like, she can't even...
Well, I mean, come on, Jake. Obviously, here's the bottom line. We live under a tariff regime from other countries. We have too long...
Like, it's not a fucking joke. You understand that, right? Like, I don't give a fuck because I'm young and I earn a lot of money because it's whatever. But, like, if I was in my retirement years, I probably lost, like, $1 million in the past month and a half in this administration. If this was, like, my fucking... I'm not exaggerating either. If this was my retirement, I would be infuriated. Like, I can't imagine, I've said this before when we brought on some of those Venezuelan people, I can't imagine being in a country where the economy falls apart and you've lost everything you've worked for throughout your entire life. That's just unfathomable to me. I can't believe that. And this is like real, these people do real work, okay? Not like streaming. These people are like backbreaking work, or just work that is like taking them hours and hours away from their family, from pursuing careers and hobbies. Sometimes it's miserable. To just watch that just get wiped away. Holy fuck. My portfolio. There's a lot of discounted stocks in here. Wow. Based. This is also a strong argument as whoa. This is also a strong argument for sorry. For Social Security. Because at least it's stable income over time. Sorry, I just saw I clicked like the performance review for your historical. That's a we call that a steep curve. That's a vertical line almost. Jesus Christ. can't even get my thing to go down there. Show me. You motherfucker. Show me. It won't. Fuck you. Jesus. Anyway. We don't open Vanguard these days. True. Talk about the refinancing debt theory. It's retarded, and they can't do it, and it's stupid. What do you do to your hair in the morning to get it to look like that? I don't even know what it looks like. I just wake up and it just does whatever. It does its thing. What is it doing now? My hair it's at an ugly length right now to where when it gets too long, it doesn't like curl anymore and it just lays flat. And it's probably the worst. It's almost at that point. Because when it just starts to like lay, when it does like this, it's ugly as fuck. But I need to get it cut. I know that when I go back to get a cut, they're going to give me another low taper fade because that's literally the only thing anybody around here can do. I told the last guy, I even looked it up, how to say it in Spanish. Scissors solamente, only scissors, only, I don't even remember. And it was like 45 minutes with the buzzers low taper fading me. Like, okay. Thanks, buddy. Should young people increase their 401k contributions for the time being? You should always take whatever your 401k matches. I'm memeing, or I'm not memeing. The markets are in disarray right now, but you should always just put your money into your investment portfolio and ignore it. That's what I'm doing. I haven't pulled anything out. Just keep investing. Ignore it. It'll come back eventually. That's how it goes. I don't know how to explain it, but I always feel weird when I see these harmless memes. Like the penguin thing is silly, but it feels like in the meme economy, I just see people going, LOL penguins instead of the truly horrible shit going on. I don't know. It feels like always focusing on the memeable parts makes the admin seem benign. I feel the same about the JD Vance Photoshop memes. Like it gives any press as good press rather than being something that actually turns people off the administration. That's kind of true, yeah. That's why I say you fight even on the small lies. You should fight on every lie.
Obviously.
On islands that are entirely populated by penguins.
Well, I mean, come on, Jake. Obviously, here's the bottom line. We
disgusting.
live under a tariff regime from other countries. We have too long
the McDonald Islands is not imposing.
The idea that America goes first. I mean, come on. Whatever. Listen, the people that are leading this are serious, intentional, patriotic, the smartest people I've ever worked with. I did not come up with the formulas. I'm the ag secretary. I studied agriculture at Texas A&M. I was in a lot of conversations to make sure our farmers and our ranchers were part of that. The president recognized the importance of inputs. We got potash and fertilizer to make sure they could do their planting. But I have no doubt that I speak on behalf of President Trump when he...
Oh, you can't see? Don't worry. It's just a lady lying on screen.
Would say he has the utmost confidence in the team and what they have built and what they have put together, and we are unleashing a new golden age, and we will see an economy that will
hit those buzzwords,
benefit not just every corner of America, but our farmers and our ranchers and the people that have been left behind for far too long by both Republicans and Democrats.
Wow, you got them all. Good job. Remember, the McDonald Island talking point is a good talking point, and it is good to fixate on the penguin stuff, because the reason why it's good to fixate on the penguin stuff is because it shows you that when they put these tariffs on, they had no fucking idea what they were doing. That's why it's important to focus on this stuff, right?
Wait, we send them $12 billion. So it's not the tariffs. It has nothing to do with tariffs. If they went to 0-0, they would go to 200 billion with us. We need to stop the ripoff, and 0-0 is the way to
I know,
make
but we
a
don't have
more
0-0,
of a
sir.
ripoff. We
don't have 0-0, actually, because when we saw the president stand in the Rose Garden holding up that chart that you helped make, that wasn't actually tariffs. That was actually confusing to investors.
This needs to be said as well. And I'm glad this lady's saying it. I hope more people are saying stuff like this. That was a lie. And you should, in my opinion, it's too harsh, and I understand they won't, but you should push them on that. You lied to the American people when you called these reciprocal tariffs, right? They're not. These are just tariffs that you wanted to put on other countries for whatever reason, but you lied when you said they were reciprocal, because these are very clearly not reciprocal, right? You should get them to say that they lied. They did lie about this.
Investors, because it was some kind of other formula, and the countries themselves seemed kind of random. Like, why are the Heard and McDonald Islands, which don't export to the United States and are quite literally inhabited by penguins, why do they face a 10% tariffs? Did you use AI to generate this?
That's a good question.
No. The idea is
why are they on the list?
Left off.
Why are they on the list?
What happened?
We need that one lady back. I don't know who she was on CNN, but she's my new debate queen. The lady that just asked the same question over and over again and then fact check him like 3 times on air. We need that lady back. Well, I don't know why you're laughing, sir. It's a legitimate question.
What happens is
Caitlin Clark?
If you leave anything off the list, the countries that try to basically arbitrage America go through those countries to us. Any country, like we had tariffs, the president put tariffs on China.
No, not Catherine Rempel. Not that person. This was an anchor person who was interviewing. It wasn't Catherine.
Right, in 2018, and then what China started doing is they started going through other countries to America.
Right.
They just built through other countries through America, and so
they were going to build on the Penguin Island. Just get that on the record. It's okay. Remember, I had the debate with the quote unquote journalists who did the articles on the Twitter files, and I was like, did you guys reach out to the FBI for comment for any of these things? And they were like, well, no. It's like, well, maybe they wouldn't have responded. Maybe, but no response is a response. And you could put that in your article. They didn't respond. The FBI refused to comment, right? Oh, Caitlin Collins. I think that might be the name of the person, yeah. You should get these things on the record. So you tariffed with the Penguin Island because you thought China was going to go build on the Penguin Island.
Is they started going through other countries to America.
Right.
They just built through other countries.
Okay, it's not Caitlin Collins, it's Pamela Brown. Okay, I don't know. We've named 15 different people in chat. Okay, let me look. I have to actually look because everybody's saying a random fucking retarded name. It is Pamela Brown. That's the one we saw.
Allies and
I said very clearly.
Okay, Pamela Brown is the one.
He's through America, and so the president knows that. He's tired of it, and he's going to fix that. So basically, he said, look, I can't let any part of the world be a place where China or other countries can ship through them. So he ended those loopholes, these ridiculous loopholes, and now what he's trying to say is, I'm going to fix the trade deficit of the United States of America. It's a
just
national
talking
security
points.
issue.
Just repeat the same talking points, talking points, talking points, talking points, talking points.
Come on, we need the greatness of
talking
America
points,
to actually be built in America.
Talking points, nice. Good talking point. Good talking points, dude.
American workers,
do not let, because this will happen if the tariffs stay and things start to reach an equilibrium. You will get days or maybe even a week stretch where the market rebounds by 5 or 10 percentage points. Okay? Do not let them claim that is a victory. If your market drops by 50% and then it increases by 60%, you're still down. You're still down. Okay? Careful in tracking those market movements. These are different things. If you have $100 and you lose 50% of it, and you have $50, and then it increases by 50%, you have $75. So you always have to track these movements over longer periods of time. You're about to hear so many people talk about the last 2 months in the market, the last month in the market, like 6 months now, the last 6 months we've seen an increase, the last 4 months we've seen an increase. Always use a longer time horizon. Don't let them, this is going to be, assuming these tariffs hold, which it sounds like they're going to, this will be the new talking point.
Great American workers.
Just like how I said, by the way, and other people were saying it too, it's not just me, that paying higher prices, well, actually, my prediction was only the crazy MAGAs would say higher prices are patriotic. Although, actually, I think I'm still right on that. I don't think most people are going to be okay with this. I think there will be electoral consequences for this.
Great American workers. You know, we are going to replace
on other
the
networks.
armies of millions of people. Well, remember, the army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones. That kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade craft of America, is going to fix them, is going to work on them. They're going to be mechanics. There's going to be HVAC specialists. There's going to be electricians. The trade craft of America are high school educated Americans. The core to our workforce is going to have the greatest...
Like, listen to even what they're saying. We're going to destroy one of the most productive workforces in the history of the world are high school educated Americans. Like, I'm sorry not to sound like dismissive, but fucking just pay them out, bro. Pay them and let them go fucking be lumberjacks, or like pay them out with whatever excess winnings we get from other industry. Why are we fixated? Why are we fixated on high school graduates? Is that what our economy needs to be built around? Is that where America's future in the world is around high school graduates? Oh, man. You know what else was brought up on that Bulwark show that I watched last night that was interesting? I never thought about. I never even thought about this. A lot of foreign exchange students are apparently starting to cancel their next semesters or are not coming back to the United States for school. There are obvious things that make these really good students that you want. Usually these are some of your best and brightest students around the world because they have the money and the educational know-how to come to the United States and study. And there's a whole bunch of like cross-pollination of like talent and productivity and everything else. However, he pointed out something else I never thought of before. One of the best things about international students is that they pay full cost tuition. They don't get in-state tuition, and they don't get like grants or scholarships from this country. They pay full cost tuition. So if we start losing these students in droves, we're also going to be losing big like subsidizations of our college system in the United States as well.
Resurgence of jobs in the history of America to work on these high-tech factories, which are all coming to America. That's what's going to build our next generation of America.
Are you
great American?
What investor would even entertain building a factory here, given how volatile everything is? And by the time the factory is up and running, the tariff situation will change with the next administration. Nobody will. This is stupid. Not only does it not make sense, I didn't even think about this, but a chatter, it was either a Kick or YouTube chatter, put this in a chat yesterday or the day before. I didn't even think about this. Imagine how shitty it would be to build a factory in the United States. If you build something in the US, you're only getting access to the US market because the rest of the world is going to have us tariffed. Like if you build a factory in the United States, you're not going to be able to export to any other country because everybody's going to have tariffs against you because you're in the US now. Wait, can somebody just link me this full Face the Nation interview? Can this not be good for the workers' right movement? I think it's weird that we abuse cheap labor from other countries in the first place without worker protections. I mean, what do you think is going to happen without access to the U.S. market? The people that were working in the horrible sweatshops are going to be liberated from the sweatshops, and they're going to go back to subsistence farming. I mean, sweatshops suck, but they're an upgrade from what was there before. And if you want to negotiate even better labor conditions for these people, then you do that with multilateral trade agreements. You say, hey, we're going to trade with you, but you have to do this for your workers. That's how you get better worker rights for other workers in other countries. Now you have no say over those workers at all.
It is shaping up to be another turbulent week as President Trump's trade war with the world escalates. The global sell-off triggered by President Trump's tariff announcements wiped out more than $6 trillion of wealth from the U.S. stock market in just 2 days. In a social media post yesterday, the president urged the country to hang tough. All this as tens of thousands of people took to the streets yesterday from Washington, D.C. to Minnesota and Columbus.
Also, damn, think about it. How much more expensive are all of your things about to get in the United States? Because not only do you have to manufacture them here, all of your inputs have to come from here as well. Holy shit. We're talking huge increases on every single part of your supply chain. It's just so stupid. I don't know, man.
Thousands of people took to the streets yesterday from Washington, D.C. to Minnesota and Columbus, Ohio, protesting many of Trump's policies, Elon Musk, and tariffs. We begin this morning with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Mr. Secretary, welcome to Face the Nation.
Great to be here.
We see about 60% of Americans have money in the stock market, which mean that retirees could be just as concerned as hedge fund managers this morning. Did you expect this level of shock in the financial markets?
Well, you've got to realize this is a national security issue. I mean,
did we ever answer questions? Is it just like not a thing? Is this, I need to learn these debate tactics, I guess, for when I go on media or when I do interviews. You just don't ever answer a question ever. Like,
we don't make medicine in this country anymore. This
shock in the financial markets?
Well, you've got to realize this is a national security issue. I mean, we don't make medicine in this country anymore. We don't make ships. We don't have enough steel and aluminum to fight a battle, right? All our semiconductors are made overseas, so every button we press when we try to start our car or even use our microwave, these are all semiconductors. They're all made.
Brian Johnson, the live forever guy. That's a good meme. Always improving my protocol. He's getting that good red light. That's a good ass meme. Jesus.
Right? All our semiconductors are made overseas, so every button we press when we try to start our car or even use our microwave, these are all semiconductors. They're all made elsewhere. We've got to start to protect ourselves.
What do you think about the argument that we need to produce our own steel for security reasons? That's an argument that you can have, but I would never entertain that argument because that is not what we're doing right now. That argument is one of the most dishonest fuck arguments anybody could ever. That is, we are not selectively tariffing an industry right now for national security reasons. We are not practicing national security with these tariffs. We're doing economic policy by abusing the powers that are supposed to be granted to the president for wartime stuff. I wouldn't even have that conversation with a conservative right now.
And we've got to stop having all the countries of the world ripping us off. We have a $1.2 trillion trade deficit, and the rest of the world has a surplus with us. They're earning our money. They're taking our money.
Right.
And Donald Trump has seen this, and he's going to stop it. So it is going to be a big change. Of course it's going to be a big change, but the rest of the world has been ripping us off for all these many years. Donald Trump has seen it. He's spoken about it.
I understand
and he's just not going to take it anymore, and that's his model.
And that was abundantly clear during the presidential campaign how much the president truly believes in tariffs and putting them at the center of his economic policy. But you saw absolute panic in the global markets. Did you expect that, or were you surprised?
Nice to ask the same question again. Good job. Do you think this market crash will put a significant dent in capital gains tax revenue for this year? Yes. Remember that I said that. Hurting the economy also hurts all of your revenues, because what happens is as your economy contracts, you have less economic activity that you can tax. Right? There's less income to tax. There's less everything to tax. So yes, it hurts you there too.
No, I think the point is you need to reset the power of the United States of America and reset it against all our allies and our enemies alike. The idea that all the countries of the world can run trade surpluses with America and buy our things with us. Remember, $1.2 trillion. In 1980, we were a net investor, meaning we owned more of the rest of the world than they owned of us.
Yeah, it's a different world. It's a different market.
And now they own $18 trillion of us net. So that means the rest of the world, every year when we run a $1.2 trillion deficit, the rest of the world buys $1.2 trillion of America, and it goes up and up and up. And eventually, we're not going to own America, and we are going to be owned by the rest of the world. Imagine if we had a war and we can't build a ship, we can't fly a plane, we can't build our own planes, we don't have our own semiconductors. This is what the president is here to fix for America. It's in his hands, and he wants to fix America. This is his chance to fix America, and we need him to fix it for our children and our grandchildren.
Okay, but for businesses to do what you're doing, because what I hear you laying out there is a plan to reindustrialize the United States and to bring companies back to America. For a CEO to choose to invest.
Well said.
But for a CEO to make those decisions, you know this, they need certainty. They need to know if it costs them more to stay overseas or if it costs them more to move here. So can you give them clarity so that they don't just cut jobs because they're dealing with the cost of these tariffs? Can you tell them how long they're staying in place?
How did Trump, an idiot, convince these relatively smart people to act this dumb? Is it all for power? I said for that, I don't know. I don't have I described it as a theory of mine. I don't know how these people operate or what their ultimate goals are. I truly don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Absolutely. The United States of America is going to protect the people who invest in America. Trillions and trillions of dollars. You heard the president speak about it.
He's not even answering like a question.
Invest in America. This is the economy of the world. We are the consumer of the world, and companies need to build it here, and we will protect them for building it here.
Okay,
we will help the American workers. Yes, American workers are more expensive, but they're better. We're going to protect all the factories that come to America, and that's what's coming here. So
okay,
the
is the
president
10% tariff
He's going to
permanent?
protect them.
There you go.
Well, remember, this is a national security issue.
I got it. Is the 10% tariff?
Our budget
yeah,
deficit.
just ask the same question over and over again. Yep. Ask the same question over and over again. Do it again.
You know, the laws of America, he would like it to be.
Ask it again. Ask it again. Please do it. Please don't let him get away from us. Just ask the same question again. Ask it again.
Protect the companies that invest here. That is the policy of the United States of America. That's why trillions of dollars are coming here.
Don't let him ramble. Just ask the same.
The United States of America is over.
Yep.
All these companies are going to come and invest here. That's what they're doing. That's why they've committed trillions of dollars. They know this is the economy.
Mr. Secretary,
this is the place to go.
Please
Mr. Secretary, the campaign's over. You won. So I'm asking what the plan is. So the Treasury Secretary said on another network, we're going to hold the course. It's not the kind of thing you can negotiate away in days or weeks. That makes it sound like the tariffs are staying in place at least for days or weeks. Is that correct, or is the president considering postponing implementation to negotiate?
There is no postponing. They are definitely going to stay in place for days and weeks. That is sort of obvious. The president needs to reset global trade. Everybody has a trade surplus, and we have a trade deficit. We are paying away our future and our lives. The countries of the world are ripping us off, and it's got to end. The president has made it crystal clear. This is the policy we are going to protect. The factories that come build in America, we are going to protect them. They're going to be successful. That's why they're going to build in America, the greatest economy in the earth. All of these companies are going to come and build.
Wait, somebody said check Bitcoin. Bitcoin should be going really, really, really high right now because Bitcoin is always a hedge against uncertainty in American markets, and Bitcoin is a very solid store of wealth. So Bitcoin is probably jumping. Oh, oops.
Here.
So when three of the president's other economic advisors who are on other networks today say that 50 different countries have been calling the White House to try to talk about the tariffs, what does that mean? Because that makes it sound like there is a negotiation, which is different from saying the tariffs are permanent.
Yes, talk to him like a retard. Thank you.
Well, what it shows is that all these countries know that they've been ripping us off. And
this is such a joke interview. There should be criminal liability for being this stupid. You should. It's just like, this is insane. Why do they even do these interviews?
has come for that to end. Now, the problem is, it's not just tariffs. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, Vietnam said they'd like to be 0-0. Remember, Vietnam sends us $120 billion worth of goods every year.
Yes,
and
cheap
we send
manufacturing.
them about $12 billion. Wait, we send them $12 billion. So it's not the tariffs. It has nothing to do with tariffs. If they went to 0-0, they would go to $200 billion with us. We need to stop the ripoff, and 0-0 is the way
I
to
know,
make
but we
a
don't have
more
0-0,
of a
sir.
ripoff. We
don't have 0-0, actually, because when we saw the president stand in the Rose Garden holding up that chart that you helped make, that wasn't actually tariffs. That was actually confusing to investors because it was some kind of other formula, and the countries themselves seemed kind of random.
Yeah.
Like, why are the Heard and McDonald Islands, which don't export to the United States and are quite literally inhabited by penguins, why do they face a 10% tariffs?
Yeah.
Did you use AI to generate this?
Control X? Shift space?
No, the idea, look, the idea is...
He's not going to answer that either?
On the list.
It's not a joke.
Because the idea, what happens
He's not even going to answer the question.
If you leave anything off the list, the countries that try to basically arbitrage America go through
the Penguin Island. So they were. That was... Okay, thank you. All right, so you said it. So they were going... We were worried about them going to the Penguin Island to start manufacturing there. That's what we were worried about. Okay.
Countries to us. Any country, like we had tariffs, the president put tariffs on China, right, in 2018, and then what China started doing is they started going through other countries to America.
Right.
They just built through other countries through America. And so the president knows that, he's tired of it, and he's going to fix that. So basically he said, look, I can't let any part of the world be a place where China or other countries can ship through them. So he ended those loopholes, these ridiculous loopholes, and now what he's trying to say is, I'm going to fix the trade deficit of the United States of America. It's a national security issue. We need to make medicine. We need to make semiconductors. We need to make ships. We need to have steel and aluminum. Come on, we need the greatness of America to actually be built in America, and he's tired of getting ripped off by the rest of the world.
Okay, but just...
These people are answering the questions, but Destiny and this lady just don't like the answer because he's not giving real answers to these questions. The problem is, like, if you're economically illiterate, you just don't understand, and it's hard to make people understand. It's the same with the legal stuff or the civic stuff. You just don't understand how unfathomably in-fucking sane the world that we live in right now is. The fact that the United States would tariff, this is just like, there's not a single econ teacher or textbook or anybody that's even like considered like, what would it look like if the United States would have put a 40% tariff on the entire world? It's just so unfathomably stupid. It's not even doomsday. It's like a joke day scenario. Like, this is not real. This isn't real life.
To be clear, April 9th, the so-called retaliatory tariffs, the reciprocal tariffs, I should say, are those coming?
She shouldn't say.
Or are they open to negotiation?
The tariffs are coming. He announced it, and he wasn't kidding. The tariffs are coming. Of course they are.
Okay. Is the administration considering any kind of offset, any kind of subsidy? You mentioned the first administration, there was some bailout to farmers to help them deal with the pain from Chinese retaliation. Are you looking at that now?
Not that I have not participated in any meetings with respect to that. The country is focused on, you realize trillions of dollars of factories are going to be built in America. That's huge GDP. The factories being built in America.
Is it true that more tariffs are coming? Well, like, these current tariffs I don't think are in place yet. I think they go in place like on the 11th or something, or on the 9th.
America are huge.
That takes years, and you've said that robots are going to fill those jobs.
True, he did.
So those aren't
it's really automated
jobs.
It's automated factories. Automated
factories.
Robots,
that's what robots are.
Who's going to build the factories? Who's going to operate the factories? Who's going to make them work? Great American workers. You know, we are going to replace
on other
the
networks.
armies of millions of people. Well, remember, the army of millions and millions of human beings.
How does Trump have authorization to put these tariffs in place? Doesn't he need to go through Congress? Did he declare war on the entire world? Yes, he declared the entire world's trade policy towards the United States. He declared the entire world's trade policy as a national emergency. That was what his executive action did. I'm not exaggerating in the slightest when I say that. That is exactly what he did. That's where the authority for this comes from.
Screwing in little screws to make iPhones. That kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade craft of America, is going to fix them, is going to work on them. They're going to be mechanics. There's going to be HVAC specialists. There's going to be electricians.
Can't the Congress vote to end this emergency thing? For this one, they can, yes. I don't know if they're going to have the support in the House to do it. I heard they were trying to in the Senate, but I don't know what that'll ultimately look like.
Trade craft of America, our high school educated Americans, the core to our workforce is going to have the great.
Like it's this guy is like Harvard educated, and he speaks like an actual retard. Like, how is that possible? Wow, like, politics is a crazy thing, I guess. Like, I could just have my mom could do these talking points just as well. Why do we need this guy here? Like, all that education for nothing.
Greatest resurgence of jobs in the history of America to work on these high-tech factories, which are all coming to America. That's what's going to build our next generation of America.
Are you concerned in the time it will take for a company to move to America that it will benefit China in the immediate term, that other markets will look to other suppliers instead of dealing with the United States?
That is ridiculous. The problem is everyone in the world sells to us. Our economy is the consumer of the world. Oh my God. We are the only one.
Consumer of the world, because we imported so much. This is where we need like the slightly higher, the high school senior understanding of econ, not the high school, just a slightly deeper understanding of economics. He is correct. We are the consumer of the world. But isn't that explicitly what you're trying to change with these trade policies? That's explicitly what you're trying to change.
With a trade deficit, the rest of the world has a trade surplus. Why does Europe have a trade surplus? Is there something about Europe that's special? Seriously, are they a different world than we are? Why are they?
Manufacturing-wise, yes, they are. I haven't studied this myself, but I've heard it repeated enough that I feel comfortable repeating it. Europe has issues where I think it got trapped in this like baseline manufacturing world that is not good, to where they're not doing as much of that final stage value add for manufacturing like the United States does. Funnily enough, we're voluntarily giving up our position as the final stage value add to trade spots with Europe that was trapped there, and maybe now we'll be able to escape because the United States is... He's saying leverage your power as a consumer to make people buy stuff from you. Yes, I understand that, but our power as consumers is because we're such a high import economy. If we tariff the entire world and manufacture everything here, we're no longer an import economy, so we lose that power.
He's selling $200 billion a year,
Mr. Secretary.
more to us. It's because it's not fair. The rules are made not fair, and President Trump is going to fix them, and he's doing it for America, and he's doing it for your children and mine and our grandchildren. This is the moment that the United States of America takes hold of itself, and Donald Trump's been talking about this his whole life. This is Donald Trump's agenda, and we are all here to help him execute it.
And we will take him at his word quite literally. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your time this morning.